Weymouth by Camper with June and Robin Lovelock of Sunning Hill. Rough cut photo trails, and they will be rough cuts. First of all, start with the standard introduction. Robin's Corner, 22 Armitage Court, Sunning Hill, where GPS was tested during the late 1980s onwards. Yeah, the lovely garden sculpture that June got Robin for his birthday present last year, that was, I think. Coming down here, June's just got back from tennis. When you see the photo trail, by the way, you'll notice that I had a beard, but I had to shave that off last night. Yes, that's June's car. Yeah, promotion of the website. That was a business decades ago, but certainly not now. It's all fun and charitable causes. There's the Spot Satcoms tracker and forts for Air Fierce guard cats where they hang out. Yeah, bicycle I might get working sometime. Now this is the important thing, the camper. That was there. That's what we used. June did all the driving because I still haven't got my license, and I'll probably have some video clips at the end of this relevant to that, the DVLA. Battle damage. June said Robin did it. Robin said the wall did it, but the wall is okay. Right, there's the robot boat that made an attempt on the Atlantic last year, and I managed to get a bit of work done on that. Yeah, we're leaving something running there just to show it off, but might be able to get a chance to do a bit more, but so many things happening, just not enough hours in the day. And so it's important, before I go into the house, to give you the health and safety warnings. So yes, there's warnings that have been here for years about cameras, lots of cameras, hidden and not hidden, but the important thing is the small print about water squirters. Okay, I'll let you read the small print. Then I've met the legal obligations in terms of health and safety warnings. So now into the house. Now, Samantha's working from home and just here. And first thing is, sometime we might be able to get the right paid work to help put in all this rubbish. It's not rubbish, it's useful tools and things in the right places. A lot of it is to do with hobbies, and so this bit is partly an advert for anybody who can help at the right price, of course. And this is a very long photo trail that follows. I think it was 9,100 photos on a 3-day trip down to Weymouth, and that's where we went here. It was East Fleet Farm Touring Park, but we saw a lot of that whole area, particularly helped by our old friend and workmate Keith Hocking that lives down there. That was very useful, which is the map we used. So, right, I'm going to run into that photo trail, and all this material has been thrown together very, very quickly because there hasn't been time to do it properly. There might be some raw material of interest to some people. Don't forget you can use the YouTube, if it's on YouTube, there's other places, to skip through and peruse content and perhaps find the bit that's of interest, especially if you're on it. So I'll run into that photo trail now, but I'll remind you first that there'll be some material at the end that's been there a while about the prophetic words of James Lovelock, who passed away on his on the 26th of July last year, on his 103rd birthday. And I've also put in there a few recommendations on the DVLA. Just a chance to do it. Okay, enough of talking from me. I do enough of that, as everybody knows. So into that very long photo trail, and I warn you that it was unscripted and thrown together very quickly. Into the photo trails. This rough cut photo trail lasts about 1¾ hours. I can't remember, about 9,100 photos, I think. Just a few at the front to give you a flavour, and pity I didn't have more time to select the better ones. But that was an important guy we met and spent time with. Our old friend from 1970, workmate. And yeah, it was absolutely lovely fit, including Keith taking us around, showing us places we would never have found. That's the fort that June had decided on. Then we got back home, yes, pussycats, and popped into our Bansal friends in the village, and there was a video chat. Sunday the 3rd of September 2023. So these are the photo trails for that day, and basically getting prepared for the trip, including seeing what tools we had, like my old phone, checking things like the route, and yeah, doing some bodges on my old phone. What else we got here? Yeah, give you a flavour of the jungle. It's mostly related getting prepared and setting up things. So that's the old phone, which I ended up replacing. I think that was, here's me hoping it will work. That was £60 from Tesco quite a few years ago, and works really well, or did, and that's the reason we had to change it. So what are we doing here? Probably looking at the charging up. Oh yes, the old battle damage, that's still one. Looks like a video, and that's the route down. So 2.5 hours roughly, and looks like we're practically ready, and that's where we're going. East Fleet Farm camping site. Probably some emails there to keep guys informed. Took my diary with me for my usual routine notes, the tracker, the spot tracker that anybody could follow off the Snoopy page, and oh yeah, some peculiarities on the phone, but it doesn't matter. And yeah, checking that the trackers on it that we were carrying worked, because anybody interested could go to the contact page and see where I was, including walking. Yeah, glance of junk in around the garden. Samantha, this is a Sunday of course, so Samantha wasn't working, just showing all the junk in the house. And we noticed that those lamps had been damaged. Yeah, so how did that happen? They were being tested, of course it was covered by the closed circuit TV, so had a look on the closed circuit TV, and yeah, that's the spot. And yeah, Samantha said, yeah, well, could have been when she was getting her car out, because needed to move the cars, and there it is, just before and going over the lamps. Samantha is caught. Still, they weren't very expensive, and they're just the job. Right, there's my tracker, which works better that way round, where the button is visible. Not surprising, because there's a GPS inside it, which needs to see the sky. And that's the sat-nav that we've used, setting that up. And yeah, that seems to be okay. And now June's carefully getting the camper out. I'm giving her a bit of assistance to get out, and that's the way she chose to do it, which is fine. Made sure we got everything. And right, what was that? Oh, I can't remember now. Oh, there's Alf. And yeah, and we're off by the look of it. Oh, he says woman driver. Yeah, so nice clear run. Get on the M3 first of all, I think. Yeah, and yeah, make sure we've got plenty of water with us. I must admit, I checked. Water was an interesting subject of its own. All these things you're finding things about the camp I wasn't familiar with. Yeah, make sure we've got an ordinary paper map, and that atlas is certainly better than nothing. So as long as you know roughly where you are, you've got a rough idea which way to head for. And of course, what I was saying there, anybody could see where we are, and there is what appears if anybody touched the tracker icon on the contact page. And that's where a destination is Fleet Farm Touring Park. Yeah, looks like seeing, not sure what that was about, probably phone calls, probably phone call to Samantha, who is obviously able to see where we were. We left it on the tracker, going over a bit of river there, coming past Winchester now, excuse me, and past Twyford, which is the other Twyford, when Peter, we may be spending time down there looking around. And yeah, I'm keeping an eye on where we are on the paper map as well, not just the sat nav. And so now, yeah, we're coming past Southampton, and yeah, sort of things on the Garmin sat-nav have been updated, and most of them are an improvement. Ah, that looks just some phone calls, I think. Yes, it is hot. Turn up the air conditioning, make sure it's adjusted to blow, and we're coming past Wimborne Minster by the look of it. Some of these areas are very familiar to us from back in the 80s when we did caravan holidays, and we've had 1 or 2 trips down that way. Yeah, and see where we're coming round now. Big long wall usually means a big grand estate. And see, yeah, so don't forget, Weymouth is the area that we spent time around, and that was a lovely sight. Now you can start seeing the sea. Yeah, so I like those bridges with the grass and things over the top. Very well very well made. East Fleet Farm. And the bus stop was right near the army camp, and it's actually named after that. That became important later for when we walked up from the camp to the bus stop. Now getting close to the camp. Yeah, and so arriving at the camp, camp is probably the wrong word for it, caravan park I suppose, touring park. Yeah, because June decided to, she said, oh, we just keep going instead of taking a rest break. Checking out the shop, and we bought a few things, quite important, and of course they gave us instructions on where our spot was, and hooked up onto the electrical hookup. Now this is the stuff, yes, that's very important for people to see. Clean drinking water, all that looks good. There's the tracker, in case anybody wants to know where we are. And of course the handouts were very useful. And get ourselves in as good a state as we can in terms of unpacking, which is okay if you were familiar with it, but I must admit I wasn't. So that we got a couple of chairs to relax in. June got some food out of the fridge, and yes, brioche rolls I quite like. Oh, and then we got some contact from Sally, who put us in contact with our friend Keith Hockin. We all worked together in 1970 and was the last time during that period at Ferranti that we spent time. At 1970, just think how far back that was. Yeah, video chat with friends, looking at information about where we were. Of course, that was the most important thing from a lot of reasons. Spending time with Keith, we did see him in our big party we had for ex-Ferranti guys back in 2000, and that was 23 years ago. Right, so what we got here, checking out various apps and things, and yeah, make sure we can get on. That was the Wi-Fi, so make sure we could get on the Wi-Fi. And sure enough, we go to the contact page and it shows where we are at East Fleet Farm Touring Park, and not just where we are from the point of view there, but actually where we're parked. Right, June's checking things out. I'm checking out my camera, or rather using it to take pictures. Right, that's a really useful map based on all Ornate survey map, and really useful thing to have in your pocket touring around. Yeah, looking around the shop, lots of things there, not just things like food and other stuff. Yeah, important Red Bull. Oh yes, we did end up buying one of those little characters. I think it was a pink Miss Piggy with the name on it. Yeah, Bostik glue. Oh, I couldn't resist that, a bouncy egg as a joke. There it is. Not sure what the name. Miss Piggy, I suppose. Yeah, lovely view of the fleet. There she is again. Found out that the fleet, obviously, what isn't obvious is it is named after, probably the French called it Lovelock, I think, which means a strip of shallow water, and that is why Fleet in Hampshire has got that name, it seems, because there's no no fleet of ships moored there, but it may well be their Welsh flag. Yeah, of course they probably won't appear on the photo trails, most of them, but we met some lovely guys, local people, people working in various places, and of course other people touring. Yeah, it looked like a cormorant. Yeah, that was a trip to the beach. Yeah, lots of nice smelly seaweed. The Fleet Lagoon, that's called, nature reserve. Yes, pillboxes and lots of that stuff, of course, going back hundreds of years. Yeah, and some lovely places to sit in memory of people. So what's she looking at that? Oh yeah, time of sunset. Yeah, so she used her phone to get the time of sunset, and we thought we'd see if we could see it. And I just reminding people, that's where we were, watching the sunset. And there it is, and of course with those lovely people and their lovely dog. Trouble is, he wouldn't obey me and go and shake himself over or herself over. Hello. One of the people we met. Smelly seaweed. I wonder what we can do with that. What if June wants any? Probably not. Yeah, lots of old, whatever that was, probably a woodwork of an old landing stage or something. Yeah, and there's the sun going down, but that particular spot is going down behind the ridge of sand, not quite high enough there to see the sea. It's not surprising, we're at sea level and there's something a few feet above us. So back to the camp, getting late in the evening now by the look of it, so rustle up something. It's obviously under sunset, must be late. Yeah, rustle up something to eat. Yeah, force myself to have some quiche by the look of it. And June forces herself to have a glass of wine. Put things on charge, including phones, trackers, camera, Yeah, make sure that clock works. Make notes in my diary. What were you doing there? And yeah, checking various things. Oh, mate, yeah, just checking what happens. Whether is anybody interested? That's how they get to see where we are. Go in on the mapping, and that shows the exact parking spot. And what's that? That was just checking. That was also from the tracker. You had to log into an account for that, so you could look at where it'd been, for example, in the last 24 hours. Yeah, boring. June watching the tennis on her tablet, I think that was. Yeah, and checking out a little tranny radio, because I like to hear the Radio 4 news. And it didn't have a very good aerial, didn't have a long enough area. Right, Monday the 4th of September 2023, and I decided to do a bit of work fixing. Yes, what's this? So, routine checks in the morning. Yeah, we had problems with a water leak, which we knew before we set off, but we didn't have time to fix it. It was grabbing the weather. And so June is, I think, got to top up the water, but the trouble is, she said there was a problem doing that, but it was just a case of taking the top off, and then the hose went in to top it up. Yes, see the battle damage. Nice friendly doggy and guys. And what I found is still complicated. No, is what you have to switch on, but the main thing is when you switch on the water comes flooding out. Anyhow, practical things like brushing your teeth, washing yourself, all those things. Water is very important, not just to drink. Usually get the drink in a bottle. And what are we doing here? It's still probably related to fixing things. Brewing up her cup of coffee and checking things like that bodged phone of mine from Tesco, which has been very good. What we got here? Yeah, using it to make some calls. That was that me booking the Duke of Edinburgh? Don't know. I think Richard did it, so I didn't have to. That's for pub lunch on the Friday. Alright, double check. Yeah, that's anybody who's interested, say that's where they are. That's the spot tracker, the same type that's going into the robot boat, in fact the same one, but it means anybody goes to the Snoopy page can see where we've been in the last 24 hours, where we are now, right down to, again, satellite image. And that's what it looks like. That's where it's sat in the front window ledge. Yeah, so just reading out the details, because when you click on the little icon it gives you a rough address as well. Looks like I'm having my 2 Weetabix. June's relaxing in the sun. I've got the Chromebook out so I can look at the weather. And yeah, wind is very important because it keeps you cool as well, and that looked good, gusting up to 25, and warm of course, but a cool breeze helps a lot. There's the meanings of fleet I mentioned. Right, and what we got here? Well, I'm probably looking at what interesting places there are around us, and June very quickly found a place called Bennett's Water Garden. That's the dash cams, which basically the practical problem we had is not being able to reach up to fix them. But they were all working whenever it was, a year ago. Just haven't had a chance to check them out. And that's using the AA Road Patrol app. But we spent a few minutes on that, but realised that needed to get something to stand on in order to get up and just check that the cameras were there and switched on. I probably had them switched off, even if they were there. We did find one. So that was messing around with those. They're useful. Bostic. Ah, right, I decided to fix that loudspeaker. There we now had 2 loudspeaker grills in place. Now we're looking on the map. And, yeah, where we are. And I'm guessing we'll be, just a solar-powered battery pack. A lot of these things. Water probably the first utility needed, and electricity of any kind next. Right, into the shop by the look of it. Oh no, I think we're on our way walking to the bus stop. I can't remember how long that was, whether it was a sort of 15-minute walk, and that's where we're going to. It's more than the bus stop. We're just going past the bus stop to Bennett's Water Garden. Got some nice views. You can actually see the sea beyond the strip of sand and dunes. That's a good viewing point, and it happens it's nature park. Blackberries to scrump, coming into being ripe enough. And moo cows. There was an interesting military feature in the background there. Can't remember what it was. Bees. Sea view on Carver. Yes, we're getting near the army base now, which is the name of the bus stop. If you're looking at the bus timetable. But we go past because we're walking past that. Well, that's the intention, right? So that's a major landmark, which is the crossroads, and the bus stop is within a couple of 100 yards of that. It's named after the entrance to the camp. Some of those automated lights, most of the time they seemed okay, but on that occasion, which was the first occasion, not so. It looks like a bit of protest stuff going on there, means something locally. Signs to the water gardens, well signed when we got there. Into them. Bennett's Water Gardens and family business. And so it looked as though we stopped for at least a glass of Pepsi Cola, I think that was. Oh yes, and something to eat. Oh yes, why was some of the watercolours named after Monet? Because bits of it look like some of the paintings he did. And right, that looks like that's the family, probably on the company house website, I don't know. Saw some interesting artwork, and that was in the toilets. Right, so now I'm walking around the gardens, absolutely lovely of course. Yes, with the wildlife. The ducks weren't in the least bit concerned about us. They say don't feed the ducks, but the ducks sort of obviously see so many people that they quite happily walk within a yard of you. So this photo trail now is walking around, enjoying the gardens. There's a lovely map showing the walk. In the background, that sounds like a military helicopter, but not relevant to this photo trail. Bennett's Water Gardens, yes, nice handout. Plenty of water being drunk all the times. There's it on the maps. And one of the things was trying to estimate how far, because right at the beginning we went by different routes, so I was a bit behind June, and we both decided we wanted to see all of it. And one of the questions would be how far would be. Roach Pond was obviously named after the fish cat there. And there was no scale on the map, even though it was a very good map. But we were able to estimate that by looking at the pattern of the ponds on their map and on the Ordnance Survey map, and make a good guesstimate of roughly from one edge of the ponds to the other edge was that, and therefore you could make a guesstimate of how far you'd walk if you walk round all of it. Some lovely, that was obviously a bench in memory of family, member of the family, probably a parent, I guess, or parents. And yeah, as we walk round, Robin, is he just pretending he's going to get up to some mischief? Pam's pond, which is adjacent, remind me of Pam Cochran, of course. Still carrying around. And what are we doing here? This bridge is an ornament, so no walking across that bridge. No, of course not. I like that use of rope, really good old-fashioned rope, the sort you'd have on old ships, I guess. Yeah, very natural looking barrier. Still lots of views across. Water lilies. Not sure we're able to identify. I'm looking at where we were on the route. One of the lady photographers. So you have quite a few people you bump into. Photography is a hobby. They're not just taking pictures, like for memory purposes and sharing with friends and family. Show pond. That's pond, small pond, but probably to show various plants. That was the Gunnera. Before, the big giant rhubarb. Now following the way out, and more water. Yes, feed me letter. Museum and exit. Yeah, the museum was a lovely surprise. I took photographs of most of the stuff that was up there, and it has a lot of history of the area. Chickerell Army Camp, Chesil Beach, things like when the bouncing bomb from the Downbusters was being tested, it was tested along that long strip of water called the Fleet. And yeah, old kit by the look of it. That isn't quite going back to the war though, I don't think. Right. And where are we there? Yeah, that looks like we're on our way out now. And so we're walking back, get back to Crook Hill Depot. Let's just see what we're up to here. The Fleet, Dogmas, Salty, Drop It. I think we decided to take a route back over the top of the hill. I think it's called Crook Hill, hoping to get a chance of seeing what appears on the map as a pond. It says pit. Now I guess we should have looked carefully at the contours, or used their common sense, or at least I should, that you wouldn't get a pool on the top of the hill. I thought it might have been on the top of the hill and put there for military reasons with pumps, but of course no, it was simply overlooks a quarry. Good views from there, of course, right the way out, including our camp, and in fact it is even possible to see our camper. That was on June's phone. And yeah, that was an interesting feature. So lovely views. Then making our way down the hill. Yeah. And pointing out something there. Oh no, those are blackberries there. Another, probably getting to the stage of getting out onto the road. We are. So now making our way back. Past that is a good observation point, which is not that far up the lane from the camp, which is where they recommend you take the doggies to have a run round, but you can also see the sea. Watch out for spiders, it says. And back to the camper. And yes, here. And what are we doing now? Yeah, looks like charging up things. June's relaxing in the sun. Well, I forced myself to relax and forced myself to have a cornetto, I think, out of the fridge. And, right. Been contacted by Keith. That's check-in. Yeah, anybody could have seen. They wouldn't necessarily get that full track, but they would see where we are at the time. And if they just leave on the page, it would follow it. They'd see us walking, they'd say, oh yeah, they're walking along there, or if it was moving fast, they'd know we're in a car. So that shows us where we are just there. Ferranti. Now, I'm reminding you who Keith was. Keith appears in that cartoon. Keith reading a job advert in the paper, like the rest of us were, and there he is. That's the picture we had from a get-together, and there's a glimpse of him on our Ferranti reunion party back in 2000 at our house here in Sunning Hill. And looks like I'm having a snack of some kind there, well, a bit more than a snack probably. June's rustled that up. And ice cream as well. So, where are we there? Oh, because yes, he said he'd arrive and he did. That's Keith. Hello, Keith Hockin, give your full name. And that was absolutely lovely. That was June playing back the track of our walk around the water gardens and back in 3D, that is. And those appears on other videos. Yeah, so we'd walked, what was it, 4 kilometre, and pointing out Ferranti, probably showing the same thing. Ferranti reunion party. There we go. That's a video that's been there for years, and there's a glimpse I saw of Keith back in 2000, 23 years ago. Alright, Tuesday the 5th of September 2023. Right, problems with the water. You've got to switch it on, but of course there's that water leak. So June's workaround, I have to remember, is basically not to leave it switched on. And in fact we found some other fixes, which is to get some containers of water. So yeah, what we're going to do about that, basically any temporary bodge to get away with it, but it is useful to right, we're doing use my current location. Get in the weather forecast. Yeah, it shows weather forecast today. I'm probably looking on my Chromebook for that. That influences what you do. That shows a reasonable wind. Looking at email, yes, including won't say too much about that. Royal Barks, that was something I put in the diary, charity event for the Royal Berkshire Hospital. And what we're looking at there, not sure, quite a low battery on the tracker, but that's quite common. It still works well. Yeah, looking at where we are. That's the tracker. There's the so-called spot tracker. I call spot T as opposed to spot T2. Tip X. And that's mostly for labelling connectors, because there's at least 2 or 3 different types of micro USB connector. June can recognise them, but I don't. And when you've got a mass of things to charge, yes, make sure we've got plenty of Red Bull. Not that only that, but anyhow. Right, now this is the workaround where June has found a plastic bucket that we can fill up with the fresh water, but then put it in the washroom, toilet, whatever you call it, and that's a good solution, or good temporary solution. Right, there's the June putting the makeup on and pointing out where things are. That's probably where I get my Weetabix from, and where the milk comes. Well, yes, fridge seems a reasonable place to keep it. So June's now relaxing in the sun. There's our little mascot. I'm having my Weetabix, so it's obviously in the morning, or late morning. Yeah, camera, and being able to keep it charging up. Yeah, helpful guy who came past there. Notes in the diary about things, and yeah, just confirming where it shows where they are. Now we were thinking, where can we get a little simple step ladder? And so we were searching around for places, and the range, now as it happens, the range is near the bus stop. So if we're taking a bus into Weymouth, that's where it stops, and that's looking at the various routes, bus routes and things. I seem to be suddenly cottoning on to something, but probably how to use the software to get clearer graphics. Yeah, so I found on some of the maps the route didn't show up clearly. Yeah, what's that? Oh, I think luckily that accident of my phone falling into the loo wasn't a nasty experience, which it could have been. And now we're off, almost certainly to catch the bus to go into Weymouth, I should think. Yes, there's the camp, which we come past as we get up towards the junction. And the bus stop is named after the camp. Yeah, get across the junction because the bus stop into Weymouth is on the other side of the road. So walk along, there's the bus stop. There's my bus pass. And there's the bus arriving, and we're on the bus. And one or two places we go past. June checking on her. Oh yeah, just checking the tracker, because anybody who's interested could say, ah, that's where they are. I mean, obviously Google Maps is what people normally use. You just look at your live position. But what are we doing here? Oh, we're practically arriving now. Lovely harbour area, because we hadn't been into this area before. We've looked down on it on other trips to Portland, which came on the next day, I think it was. And there's the range, and the bus stop was right near the range. Oh yes, little train. We didn't get a chance for that on this trip. And so where do we go? Yes, plenty of water. You'll probably notice in these photos that gradually I'm beginning to grow a bit of a beard as each day goes by. Right, so now inside the range. Looks like a phone call, probably to make contact with June, that went walking off when in fact I'd found the right department for the stuff. But in fact June was found the exact place. I think the lady who told me stuff had moved. So we found the product that we wanted to buy, and that was in their plans, but the plans change all the time. So we'll probably get on one of those soon back at Bracknell. Oh yeah, lovely guy there. Yeah, I think they call it busking, but it can be done for all sorts of reasons, including charitable causes. Oh, that was in fact the new phone that I ended up buying, and that was get it right, £65. And then we went in and got a case, which is the best we could find. Spoke to the guy, basically, yeah, got it. So the phone I've now got, and at least it's a temporary fix, is a reasonable smartphone, £65, right? Now, I'd forgotten my jacket, but the lovely guy, that came later perhaps. Anyhow, I'll deal with that later. So it looks like we're having a nice snack here. Oh yes, the blue bottles on the remains of the food. All wildlife, you know. So what's June looking at now? Yeah, that was a lovely spot actually. They had a nice sort of back garden and places for kids to play and people to relax and eat or drink or whatever. Now to the beach. Yes, an ice cream of course. June relaxing on the beach. Looks like another phone call. I'm checking, yes, on my new phone. Yeah, I can just use it enough. Coca-Cola this time. Yeah, looks like sails in the distance, and what else we got going on? Yeah, so we're basically Weymouth near the seafront. Yeah, so June wants to have a bite to eat something. There's Keith. And he's picked us up, and he's obviously shown us loads of places that we probably wouldn't have got to because of the car, but more than that, Keith has been living Weymouth for years, decades, I can't remember how long, but so he was sort of driving around pointing out all the places. Looks as though going across to Portland now. So we're on that's Chesil Beach, which is that strip of sand that runs between the sea and the Fleet strip of water. And so now, he's showing us around for a few things. One way of stacking boats, and of course what Keith was giving us is a lot of the history of the places. Yeah, look at my beard's come along nicely there. Now, I couldn't possibly remember what all these places are. Interesting thing, Keith carries a stick, but in fact, the amount of walking that he suggested we do, and we did do, it didn't look as though he particularly needed it. I suspect it might be more than just a walking aid, it might be a weapon, but we shouldn't say. That'd be a security risk to give it that way. Yeah, so we got down to a lovely bit of beach with smelly seaweed there. And of course, wherever you find beach, you find kids and people enjoying it, and birds and seaweed. Yes, what can we do with seaweed? Oh yes, helicopter pad. Yeah, Keith was giving us a lot of information about the history, and some of it was up on the posters, History of Portland. Nice selfie of the three of us. Portland Harbour. And carrying on driving us around. So where are we going next? Yeah, well, I wouldn't know, but wherever we go past somewhere, I take a snap of it. Of course, Keith was almost certainly telling us about it. That was a quarry, Portland stone. Yeah, we've often seen this stuff, and probably only waking up that practically all the Portland stone seems to come from Portland. And there's certainly a lot of it. And I suppose whenever they're digging out a quarry or something, there's more there. Where's that? Mentions a museum. And where are we now? So probably I'll go into the lighthouse on the very tip of the peninsula of, I think it's called Portland Bill. And we had been there before, I certainly had, and near, obviously there's military sites everywhere. And so we're getting near the lighthouse. Gents, that was in a good state. And warnings about a very loud fog signal. And various memorials to people. And some, right, well, you're just basically walking around that area. And of course, I couldn't resist going up to the edge. Ministry of Defence property, keep out. Yes, lots of interesting antennas there. So that was because I climbed over the fence, of course, and took some inside because I particularly like the look of the flowers. No, of course I didn't. Right, so we're on our way back. Where are we going next, I wonder? Yeah, all the time you're seeing lovely... Oh, the sculpture park. Now, we would never have known that if Keith hadn't mentioned it. And of course, you've got to get to it. And so I took a few pictures, and there was lots of examples of where I guess most of these sculptures were probably carved into the rocks that were already there, or I suppose some of them could have been brought there. but absolutely lovely. Lots of examples. Some was the Roy dog, yes, and an owl, yeah, bunny rabbit, and lots of things. Yeah, oh yeah, a snail on there. Oh yes, this couple were flying a drone, and so of course that rang a lot of bells, and I did make some mischievous suggestions where they flew the drone, um, and you could see them from across where we were walking to as well. That was a good viewpoint. He did actually come up and float, stood right close to us. And got a lovely view there, back along Chesil Beach, with the fleet other side and the sun going down. But because it was misty, because the wind had dropped, then yeah, the sun basically just settled into the mist. And there's the a serious photographer. Spoke to that guy, and looks like it's obviously after sunset. Unauthorised removal of pebbles not allowed past the cave in. I remember speaking to a very interesting chap. He had a few drinks inside him, but we had a good conversation, and yeah, some lovely seats in memory of different people. And obviously back, and Keith gets us back to the camper, and we have a cup of coffee or so there, I think, and then Keith leaves. June watches the tennis, of course. I do a bit of bits and pieces. Oh yes, reply to from our friend for getting together as soon as we can. So obviously golden news. Time for me to have a little bit of supper, I guess. And that's looking at where we went based on the tracker that I was wearing. So that is where Keith took us. So some of that was in the car and some of that was walking around. And that's the bit walking around, I think. Just there. That was simply the tracker that I was wearing. As I've said many times, I'm not in the business of selling anything, but that's the sort of thing on the open market you'll find probably not much more than £20 and put the right SIM card. Wednesday the 6th of September 2023. So this is the last full day we've got there before travelling back on the Thursday. Yeah, we got our workarounds. Be careful when you empty the washboard bowl, so go through the right procedures for using the separate containers. And yeah, my beard's coming along nicely. So looking at, yeah, cloud cover, that looks as though it's going to be sunny most of the day. A bit of cloud in places, bit of rain, but that's some distance away. And look at the wind later in the day, and hot and lovely. Well, it's lovely if you've got enough water. Does that mean I decided to put a different shirt on? Looks like it. Yes, and different socks, I think. Yeah, I like those socks with Union Jacks at the bottom. Well, I haven't got much time to say it, but I imagine the people out in the Far East or wherever it is that make those socks said put the Union Jacks under the sole. They did some horrible things to us, so people got to walk on the Union Jack rather than have it on the top of the foot and shout to everybody that you're British. Anyhow, I like to think I'm human rather than that. Probably English before being British. Right, what have we got here? Well, it was in the fridge. There's the tracker. That's June's white tracker. I say June's. It's a spare tracker, and occasionally she might wear it. put it on, like all these things, you can put it on whatever you like. So what's that? Was that a call? Oh yeah, I think there was some confusion. A lot of it is, of course, I've got that new phone, and it's been a matter of familiarising yourself how you use it, and of course it needs setting up. Yeah, battery, yes, looks good spec, but it's all a question of how you charge it, what the settings are. Right, problems there. I was just reminding people that we need to have that water leak fixed. And the good thing is it doesn't affect the flushing of the loo. Separate water tank for that. Right, trying to show the nitty gritty of cleaning one's teeth and taking a photograph with it with the other hand. Not easy. Now, if I was wearing a camera on my head, of course it'd be a lot easier. Right, June's relaxing, and what's that? Don't know what that's about. So, oh, yeah, probably how to use that. Oh, that was it. How do I set it so that, like all the other platforms, when you go into the Chrome browser, it comes up on the page you want, which in my case is the home page for convenience. Probably possible to do on there, but it's just a question of finding out how to do it. I've not had that problem with Chrome on anything else. WhatsApp, well, I've got WhatsApp working on it. Again, it was a matter of how you use the settings. Bit confusing really, but that was probably just a matter of having the phone set up right. Yeah, probably lots of things that need to be done before getting it in the cookies. Yeah, so a lot of messing around doing things like that. Yeah, so did a check between June and myself, and it worked. Yes, I managed to change the wallpaper on the front screen as well for a suitable photograph that I took. And that's apparently how I get to it. And so we had to get Samantha's contact details in. I thought those would have been on the SIM card, but they didn't appear. So again, it's setting up things so that basically the phone is as usable as all the phones that I've used for decades with the same SIM card. Same SIM card, same number, I think, since the 80s. Looks like a video chat going on there. June. That's the battery pack, which is important to have a C connector on it. So I've got to label these leads. June having a nice doze in the sun. Lovely guy there, gave us some useful information. And yeah, looks like I'm forcing myself. Yeah, notes. And that's the Chromebook, which is, yeah, well worth getting whenever that was, so several years ago now. And so it looks like, right, this is another trip to Weymouth by the look of it. And yes, I think June decided she wanted to go to, if I got it right, the fort. This was the last day before we drove back on the next day, so this is still the Wednesday. And yeah, just checking, anybody want to know? Yes, that's where Robin is, just near that spot there where we parked. Oh yes, yeah, a bit of sad news that from ESAM's guys. Yeah, we're looking forward to raising a glass, and that's Eric there. Bye, Eric. Sleep well. Back to the mundane things. Ah, June's got a haversack for me. So, yeah, so perhaps I can put some of my junk in that. So June helps me, of course. The first time I've worn a haversack, I think. Well, certainly I can recollect. And of course, it's a question whether you want to have to keep taking it off your back to get something. Whereas most of the time I've been able to get things just by reaching into the right pocket. But the advantage of that, of course, is that I have a sack. Right, lovely people we met with a dog again. Yeah, normally when I wear my lightweight jacket, I've got enough pockets in it, but of course in really hot weather, it's too hot to wear. Right, so views again, yes, it was hot. Walked up the shady side of the street, up to the camp, because it's going up to the bus stop so we can catch the bus into Weymouth. Yep, familiar landmark here. So this is where we cross over to get to the other side, so we walk down to the bus stop. There's the bus stop. Again, good shelter from the rain, but not from the sun, so I chose that spot. Chatted to the guys there, got on the bus. So we're on the bus now to the middle of Weymouth again. This stops at the range. Plenty more water. Welcome aboard. So First is the name of that bus service, it seems. And there we go, going across the water. A few landmarks. There's another bus, but an open top one. And yeah, there's the range, so we're right near the bus stop. Yeah. And yeah, so right, so we're walking around. What I didn't mention, the previous day, I'd left my jacket on the bus, and in a nutshell, we spoke to the guy at the depot. He says, "Oh yeah, there's the bus there. It's been taken off the road for the moment." And going upstairs, there was my jacket upstairs. The beard's coming along nicely there. Yeah, a few nice places in the town, lots of places to choose from for sitting around, relaxing, drinking, eating, whatever. But I suppose one of the most important things is being able to just speak to people and get information rather than try and do it online. I mean, online is useful, but and of course paper maps are really useful, but quite often you can't be speaking to people. Now, this is making their way, their lovely little squirrel, making their way to the fort, and June had gone off by a different route while I was chatting to a guy who in fact gave me a shortcut. There wasn't much difference in it, the distance, but we just saw a different route getting to the fort. And yeah, so that's the entrance into the fort. And by then we'd spoken on the phone, and June had already got there and was starting to look round, so I was a few minutes behind her. And so I did a pretty thorough tour of it. Obviously spoke to a guy, not on the photo trail. He was there, basically retired guy, and he did it for a charity. Yeah, that could be him there with the white hat. Yeah, it could be. Sorry if you see this, I've forgotten your name. Didn't get a chance to write it down, but anyhow, yeah, so that was the arms. Of course, a lot of it was, well, it is a museum, and that's a torpedo, front end of a torpedo. Yeah, so anybody interested in any of this stuff could just freeze frame and read the text. And right, there's another bit of the museum downstairs. World War II schoolroom. The magazine level. Magazine meaning weapons, I think, rather than paper things to read. And this was mentioned to me. I think Keith mentioned it. There were times when it was used as a prison. Um, some of this going back a long, long time. Here we go, 1800s. Examples of various boats and ships. Texel Beach map, that was, I think. And yeah, some arrows saying this is the way we recommend you walk round. Embarking for a lot of stuff relating to Normandy, because that rings bells with a lot of things. The most obvious film, Saving Private Ryan, which June's late lad Jack Ponsford said was the only realistic war film, and I can believe that. But yeah, so using the opportunity to take as many photographs as I can, more than giving you a flavour, but also showing you the sort of stuff that's there. And of course you can use the YouTube time bar to skim through the video and find, say, is that of any interest to me, just by you glance at the picture, and then you can play that bit or freeze it on a frame and look more closely. I can see on the time bar that of playing this video at the moment, just from the hard disk for making the recording, that we're about, whatever it is, I get looking at it about 60% through, and it was an hour and 45 minutes, so yeah, we're probably about an hour into it, but won't touch it. Yeah, in fact I can see it says we're 1 hour, 1 minute and 45 seconds now. So, and of course a lot of these theatres correspond to where friends and family were in action, and some of those people have tributes to them. Yeah, now about the air defence system. Of course that became something important after the First War, World War One. I say First War, there have been countless wars. Women in World War Two. Now, of course, I'm known to give a lot of banter talking about women, but in fact, some women I've worked with are absolutely remarkable. Yeah, and one of my favourite war films, which annoys people, is Hello, Hello, and my favourite expression is, "You stupid woman." Although the other expression, "Good morning," from the British secret agent disguised as a French policeman who speaks awful French. Oh, the nuclear bunker, that certainly caught my eye, because I've been in a few of those. And so this is open now for, I may not have taken the right tour because it had other things on show there, so there may have been some overlap. Yeah, that looks right, NBC gear. Because this was a very hurried tour, because I was going around to make sure I got the chance to see it all. We had closing time was coming up. I think it was 4 o'clock if I remember. So the main thing was to make sure I could see all of it before 4 o'clock. Yeah, that's expecting material. And then a lot of, yeah, bit more history. No chance to read it that, of course, just photograph it, and always possible to read it later if there's time, which I doubt. There are never enough hours in the day. So, because I'm making way back up the stairs, and couldn't miss that motorbike and some old cannons and things. School evacuee experience. Right, getting back to, yeah, something else caught my eye. This is the way back out. Way out. There's June. So we meet in the shop. Donations, yeah. Popped in a suitable donation. Well worth it. And so that was the fort, and lovely view across from the edge of the gardens. Yes, more water. Can't have too much of that. I think they say if it's more than 4 litres, make sure you have balanced food. But they certainly recommend you, in hot weather and everything else, you have a couple of litres, 1.5 to 2 litres. So that's important. I thought, oh, top up from the cold tap, and Jude said no, definitely not. Yeah, she said no, pour that away. That was cold tap in the loo, that was. Thought it'd be okay, but she said no, we've got plenty, we'll top it up somewhere else. So now we're taking the route back, but instead of the sort of through the middle of the gardens, we're walking along the bit of the beach. Yes, with lots of smelly seaweed. Yes, you often know when you're there. So pictures of the wildlife and everything through there, and so we're looking to see if we can see any wildlife like little crabs or anything in the rock pools. And I did find a snail, lots of snails. I thought, oh, I'll take one of those back for my French friends. And we found, yeah, some interesting rocks. Tempted to take away, but didn't have the means. And interesting sculpture. Yeah, people enjoy themselves with things like paddle boarding or kayaking or whatever. Making their way back up the steps, which is the route that I'd been advised. And a pussycat. Hello, pussycat. So, top up with water. There we go. I think June had probably seen that there was one. So we were able to top up our bottles. And that's where June thought was the best place. And that bicycle caught my eye. And that was near Brewer's Quay. And there's a nice bit of sculpture. Crab. Cruises. They had a bit of... That's where you tow a serious boat up with. Tow, did I say? Yeah, some old history. And yeah, I remember chatting to that guy who was fishing there, and he actually showed me what he just caught, and we had a chat, but again, no time to remember the name here. And those were cats in the window, working their way back. Yeah, rowers, chandlers. Yeah, we're a sort of place that we find local ones for Snoopy's robot boat work, not least the paint. Yeah, les enfants terribles. I guess horrible little kids, children. Yeah, Weymouth Harbour. All very photogenic. And where are we here? We're making our way to the beach. Oh yes, that's it. Yeah, we both agree it's a good idea, but we thought, oh, go back via the fun fair and things. And yeah, lovely guy caught me there, said, oh, be careful about taking pictures of any kids and that. Well, obviously, that's definitely the case. And saw that, which was being used to advertise an Italian restaurant, and thought, June would probably be interested in that as well. We like eating in Italian. And then I spoke to somebody and he said, yeah, he said, why not try Enzo's, I think it was. And so it didn't take long to find out where that was. And so we're walking down. There's all the way along, because there's lots of places that you can relax and drink whatever it is. The War Memorial. Interesting and important. We're getting lots of things of interest. Enzo, there's the restaurant. In fact, I got there before June did. Able to speak and say, have you got a table for a couple? Lovely family run business. And from Napoli, I think, Naples. And yeah, very, very good food and everything good. There was arancini. So that's what we were eating as a starter. Arancini from like Sicilian heritage, I think, and a glass of white wine. And June had something else, a kind of spritzer or something, I can't remember what that was, some sort of cocktail. And then I had, well, I think we both had the risotto di mare, fish with rice basically. And then of course ice cream. And the 1,000 lira, that certainly caused a sensation with staff and one or two customers. Oh, they think that's worth a lot of money. It's getting a bit dog-eared now. That was an absolutely lovely meal. And that's right, and now we're making our way back. It says, the route back to catch the bus. That's where she did check on the Google Maps navigation, but on foot. Past a few landmarks. You can see it's getting dark now. And yeah. So yeah, pictures will be a bit blurred as well. Saw that bit of artwork. The range, so we know we're near the bus stop, Weymouth Angling Society headquarters. And yeah, so right, so we're at the bus stop, and the situation is, I'll say now, that it turned out we were hoping that we'd be able to catch the bus and we were at the right place, but if my memory serves me correctly, we had to get a taxi. Yeah, and we got a lead, and this was fantastic value. The guy arrived from around the corner, and basically I obviously asked the price before, and I think it was in the region of £10. Quick pickup, got us back, and yes, I probably I think I gave him 15, give him a £5 tip as well, because it was very, very good value. Now looking at the sort of bodges and repairs to the thing that I carry my phone around with, because now this is late on the Wednesday, their last day there near Weymouth, and now checking, anybody clicking on that will see where we are. And they could zoom in and say, there they are, and there he is, exactly at that camping spot. It's not always been accurate, but if it's that way round, it's good. In other words, you can see the little button, so it gets a good signal. Otherwise, it could be quite a few yards away. It might be 50 yards away or 100 yards away. So that's all checking that, and the main reason for that, and that was their journey by walking and bus around. Again, anybody interested could see that, and then back. So that was there. And next morning, Thursday the 7th of September 2023, the day we have to travel back. Yes, my beard is coming along very nicely, and yeah, that's probably June having porridge. Be doing a quick check on things like the weather, and the Met Office have updated the website literally in the last few days and added improvements. I did in fact suggest that. I'm sure it wasn't me, probably other people had noticed it. So there's some improvements on it. Shouldn't take long to get the hang of it. Yeah, so now looking at wind gust. Very little wind, but very high temperatures, 28, 29. So that means it's going to be particularly hot because there's no cooling wind. Yeah, guys coming around. These guys always provide useful information. There's June's tracker. And I'll say now that this is, yeah, just checking that's all working, because that means that anybody can see where we are, and if they think, oh, are they making progress home? If they know roughly what we're planning to do, they're able to see and say, oh yeah, haven't hit any problems. Right, that's the route back. But we thought, no, rather than just go directly home, we might go via Lyndhurst. That was June's idea, which was a good idea. Lyndhurst in the New Forest. And we already knew that area. As it happens, we spent the first night of our honeymoon there back in 1970. And, or was that? Oh, gotta make sure I get the year right. 71 maybe. And yes, I think it was. But yes, so June's now packing stuff up. I give her a little bit of help, but she's got the knowledge of how these things clip together. Some was a bit fiddly. And yes, my 2 Weetabix for breakfast. Yeah, and yeah, where things go. Because one of the purposes of these photo trails is to remind myself and anybody that has the misfortune to borrow our camper or considering using a camper, make sure that they think, oh, you don't want those sort of problems to crop up. Some things are major things like water, but other things is being able to find things that you want and conveniently charge stuff up. Right, to putting her makeup on. I've got to put my makeup on as well, of course. Yeah, mostly where things are going to go, because we don't want them sliding about. So closing the windows, that's in the, yeah, so all those windows have got to be closed, because you don't want a massive load of wind blowing in when you're driving along. And yeah, so make sure they're all clamped down properly. And of course, very important, which is the hose there for probably, which one's that? That is draining, yeah, draining the wastewater, I think. Just the, yeah, it's not the sewage, that's a separate container. It's I think just, I don't know, wastewater from the taps, from, you know, washing your hands and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, now all that junk there needs to be, yeah, I've cleared that, put it simply down on the seat below it, so at least we say, if necessary, we put it back up in the right place. Certainly if you wanted to sleep, you wouldn't want to be in amongst it, but at least we know where it is. Yeah, drop more Red Bull. And yeah, we had a few spots of rain during the night. A little shower had gone through, and of course it made the windows dirty, so it was a matter of cleaning those as best we could. What that flagged up is one of those little handheld things, can't remember what they're called, but you typically have a it's like a T-shaped thing. Right, that is, I was puzzling. Oh yes, trying to find Google Maps, trying to find Lyndhurst, and it showed loads of Lyndhurst, like bits of road in different places. That certainly caused a bit of confusion. But, and I was trying to do what I thought was the obvious thing of Adder's next stop. So I think I was whether it was because there's been a software update and I was no longer familiar with it, I don't know, but anyhow, it wasn't a problem. So again, June's going through the thing of switching the right things off, so then we could unplug the power, and yeah, fine, just throw the cables in there rather than bundle them away. So all prepared up. By the way, this is looks like 1 hour and 20 minutes into the 1 hour 45 photo trail, and then there are a few minutes at the very end. So June's got to wear the right shoes to be comfortable for driving, and there is a checklist. It says important for driving off, which is the basic things, but of course it probably won't say make sure you've got enough water. So that looks as though we're getting ready to leave at about 10 past 11, and we're probably leaving at that time. Yeah, so now leaving the site and off up the road. So instead of walking up this road, oh yes, aircon, it was hot, so made sure I got the aircon on full, and up to the army camp landmark. But of course the difference now is we're not going into Weymouth, we're going home. There's the water gardens that we visited, we go past that. So of course this part of the photo trail will be quite a lot, is the landmarks we go past. Some of them just give a flavour of what the journey's like if other people decide to take it. And of course that's what the sat-nav shows, and that's their little little Miss Piggy. And yeah, a few things I thought were I quite liked. I mean, the main limitation of with all these things, you just, rather than shop on price, you get the best you can but not pay more than necessary. And there are a lot of things I liked about that Garmin sat-nav. The mapping was better than some, but of course there are lots of things it didn't have, like clearly seeing features like rivers across your route, or other things you might recognise like electricity pylons, all things that you'd have on Ordnance Survey mapping. Rather than brag about my old software, I say all that stuff was being done, what was it, 30 years ago? First part, certainly over 20. Anyhow, yeah, so charging was very important for the camera. That's the camera that's being used for taking the photographs, and using Tipex to label the micro USB connectors. Yeah, so things like when you've got lots of different things that use different plugs and sockets, then make sure you can actually easily see, so you can pick up the right cable to plug into whatever. So that was a place we managed to stop safely, and in a lot of cases it wasn't straightforward. Now I'm saying, but not sure whether, oh yeah, there was a helicopter came over in slower time, might even recognise what it was. I got the impression it might have been a military helicopter, but don't know. Going past some nice big estates, you can tell by the long wall. And of course look at where the places are on the map. You would know, and a lot of those places were familiar to where the trips. Got to be particularly careful, of course, going past wide loads. Yeah, what I liked is that again, the software might change again, but it was important to June to have the instructions up permanently at the top, which said, for example, oh, certain distance, whatever, 500 yards to the roundabout where you go straight on, something like that. And what I found is that if I tried to shift the map by swiping it, that disappeared, so I had to sort of reset it. If on the other hand I was just changing the scale of the map, it didn't affect it. Yeah, we've got speed limits coming up there, so that was a little practical thing. And of course what I liked, oh yeah, somebody had a little bit of a prank, nobody hurt, I think. And yeah, what I liked is that even if I set it up on a wide scale, so you could say, yeah, there you get the big picture on where we're going. When you approached the particular junction or wherever you were making a turn, it would zoom in on it, so you saw it in more detail. So I particularly like that. But right, we got a nice run. So it looks to me as though we're in the New Forest now. Lyndhurst. That's what we're heading for. So yeah, there's an example where it's zoomed in to show, and I thought at first this would be on a road familiar to us, but yeah, playing cricket on the cricket field, not the Crockett field, the cricket field. So as it happens, that road wasn't the one that we were very familiar with, but they all come in and out of Lyndhurst from the north. So that looks as though, yeah, the White Rabbit. So the place we ended up stopping, because Jim was obviously looking around. Now, there are places we were familiar with, but at the end of the day, you're looking for somewhere that you can park. And in fact, we found somewhere much nicer than we imagined we would find. Now, that was the hotel we stayed in, but it's been knocked down and something put there to replace it. So, yeah, Bolton's Bench was the little patch that we thought, yeah, made sense to go. Yeah, some horses, and you see lots of people using their smartphones to take pictures. And so we're going up, but of course, I'm not sure we get a glimpse on the photos, but it looked like a little old cottage, which was that one probably, that was probably the original one. Might have, don't know what the history is of that. But the practical thing is, it was quite fiddly for June to actually park, and so there was a lot of manoeuvring around, and of course, yeah, so whereas I say things like, oh, pause and let me just get out and look whether you had room, no, she did it her way. And then we found a good spot, which was right near the cemetery. And it said that parking was only for cemetery visitors. Well, there's no problem with that, because we were going to use the opportunity to look round. Not just as an excuse. Yeah, it caused me a bit of amusement. Closed circuit TV cameras, yeah. So usual, I'm a chance to read them fully here, but things, yeah, all water. So basically, now took our walk around, and so now that this is walking around the cemetery, yeah, some of the tributes had been left there for some time. Obviously no time to really look properly and read, just get a flavour of the place. It was a lovely place. Of course, yeah, camera. I didn't see any other cameras, but at the end of the day, it makes sense. So we're having a good tour. Just in, again, no. Yeah, I found that bit, and I think by accident, yeah, old bits of interesting stuff. And of course, naughty me had gone into an area I shouldn't have done. I thought that block might have originally been toilets or something. I was curious whether they did have any nearby, but anyhow, there's some nice tributes there. Memory of Stillborn of Lyndhurst, now in God's Garden. Another little thing, helicopter whizzing past. I think it was probably a tourist helicopter, seemed to be making tours. Could have been something else. Might have been pensioners up to mischief. Oh yeah, some cow manure, I think that was. and we're looking for a nice shady spot. There was another, because it was hot, and yeah, so those chairs need to be got out. And June found a good spot, which was in the shade, and as it happened, on the hill looking down, and there was a lovely breeze there. So that's the view from it, and it was a really good spot. So I went back and probably more water, probably got some Red Bull out as well, I don't know. Probably, yes, I was looking for food, and saw the bananas, but then in fact there was enough food that June had brought over on the tray. So enjoying their break there, seafood cocktail in brioche buns, and lovely view, including the couple of horses there. Have a banana. Of course, what do you do with the banana skin? You know, common sense says a place like that, banana skin could be put somewhere where wildlife might make use of it. I mean, obviously if you leave banana skin in the middle of a town, somebody might slip up on it. Somewhere like that, it might be good for the wildlife to make use of. When I said that, it was a bunny rabbit hole. I don't mean near the bunny rabbit hole, but yeah, so if one was sat out there evening and waited, you'd probably see rabbits and things. There's my phone. Yes, I managed to change the screen so turn on the privacy. No, that's the annoying thing. It keeps on trying to get you to do things, and some people might follow it. Oh yes, I had a sorry, I can't remember your name, but that was a lovely chat. And yeah, so where are we now? That was yeah, so that was at about a little past 1:30 into the thing. I can see it here, and somebody using the YouTube time bar could actually see it. So it's 1:32 and 30 seconds coming up now, and what we got here, that I can hear, it sounds like June has got back. That sounds right. She normally gets in the background as I'm recording this. June has just got back from tennis, and it's because I'm recording this on the Friday where we got pop lunch at 10:40. That's the time now. I started recording it an hour and a half or more ago. Right, so now, yeah, making sure I've got the right keys, because we've both got sets of keys, making sure the sat nav is set up to go back to home. Yes, it is hot. Put the aircon on, and yeah, make sure belt it up and everything's okay. Yeah, all ready to go. And so we're off, and yeah, past that little cottage I mentioned, thatched cottage, and so we're off leaving Lyndhurst now. And yeah, tractors, hello tractors, buses, and yeah, over the water, and I can hear voices in the background, by the way. It doesn't matter, that is June has just got back from tennis and chatting to Samantha, who's working from home. And right, so on our way back, yeah, everything's looking good in terms of the route. Graphics were quite good. Again, I hadn't seen that before, so that was probably an update where you actually get a picture of what you see at that junction. Again, bragging about it, that mechanism was put in my software back whenever it was, 25 years ago, I don't know. You just plugged in the pictures it's all driven by the data. So you plugged in the right map data, you get detailed maps as you go. There was a fire we could see, and the graphic came up showing that was another type of object, and we're pretty sure that that was being added to the software, probably because the data is available. Oh, 71 miles per hour, but that's okay. Her real speed will be significantly less than that. You check against GPS, but obviously any system that the consumer is using, you need to have a safety margin, otherwise you get sued if if they're just following, say, my speedo said I was doing less than 70. So again, I haven't checked this one recently, but checking with GPS, you probably find there's at least 5% margin. So right, Woking and Bracknell, so we're getting very close to home now by the look of it. Yeah, so coming up the M3, and yeah, oh yeah, PGA Golf coming up. Yes, advertise that. My finger usually means, yeah, there's a business angle in it. Yeah, getting closer. And yeah, roughly 10 minutes to go before the end of this, so I might get interrupted by something else, but I don't think so. Getting near home now. On that last run, yeah, second exit, straight over the roundabout. That used to be a crossroads. Watch your speed, 32 miles per hour, June. But you're okay, because in fact your real speed is less than that. And there's the Beresteed Hotel. So we come past that, we're approaching the roundabout. When Nick Knowles did his bit of sat-nav demonstration, that was a crossroads. And here we are into Armitage Court, and past Richards and Fays, and we've got to watch out for fierce pussycats now. So June parks the camper there. There is Bentley nearest us, and Toadie, our cat, being watched by Samantha, of course, knew that we were arriving. He, yeah, apart from that, she'd just look on the tracker that was still running and displaying in the lounge. There's Toadie, and that's where it's got to go. The camper's got to be parked. Of course, typically the cats are just sort of mucking about with each other. So June's now got to park the camper, but of course the cats are choosing to block her path. So June's going through the process of, yeah, Samantha's saying, look, get out of the way, Toadie. You're stopping Mum from parking the car. Right, he's got out of the way now. Yes, bit annoying. Yes, Bentley. And, well, it wasn't perfect. It's sort of a bit on the grass. So she's got to do a bit of fiddling about now so that she can go back, make sure that the cats aren't in the way. Bentley's watching. Yes, she's parked it okay now. That's good parking. And so that job's done. Hello, Bentley. Bentley's the senior guard cat, and he's from opposite, but he comes over for meals and generally, training of Toadie, of course, on security duty and stuff like that. Yeah, cats, of course, in the way. Yeah, coming up to 5 o'clock, and yeah, relaxed cats. Yes, there's the damaged lights that you saw earlier. There's Snoopy's robot boat. At least a bit of progress had been made. That's on another video trail that probably go up after this one, even though it was events of the end of August before this. Yeah, the diary probably got a few updates put in it. Not very much to put. Probably checking what the trackers said. Yeah, so the tracker said at that place, but when it refreshed, it's good. That was what was on the Lounge PC. The Lounge PC hadn't refreshed. Anybody visiting the link? Yeah, it is just there. Notice my beard there. If you see any introduction and things to this, I've had a shave. Yeah, that's looking at the route we took. And the walk around Lyndhurst near the cemetery. Now back to the trackers. That's the tracker that was in the camper, and so I'll pop that in June's car for the moment. That's going to go into Snoopy's robot boat, so while we're about it, knows it's being tested all the time, and of course it's practical, so we say, oh, okay, that's how you get to it. On the Snoopy page, tap on the picture and you can look at whatever it is, 24 hours worth, and that shows exactly where we were parked, and that was the route back. That was where we parked at Lyndhurst. I got the time, of course, and everything. Oh, about drinking water, did a Google on that, and that's where it said okay to drink up to 4 litres or even more, but make sure you eat properly. Looks like we've decided to walk down and join the Bansals, friends in the village, and so we go in there, see a favourite dog, Romeo, and there's a bit of mischief caught on camera here because somebody, possibly Belle Bansal, has got a water squirter, and it's a better one than the one they had before. And she wasn't just using it to threaten Romeo to be a good doggy, she was spraying everybody, including myself. Yeah, there's a lovely bit of refreshing drink. And Romeo, Raj, yeah, Pal showing June something. And there's the water squirter. And poor old Raj, he got a good soaking, and it's a long range one. She was able to get him right down the end of the garden, but she's also got some on her, but that's the brand. Yeah, she got me. Not easy to do something important. Look, there she's operating it. One hell of a jet of water. Look at the range of that. That's not even the maximum range, and that's the one. Well, look at that frame. And that is at 1 minute 42 and a half. That picture, everybody remember, of course. And of course when I say these times, there's Mandeep. Mandeep didn't want to come out in case she got squirted with a water squirter. And Romeo, yeah. So we're getting towards the end of this photo trail, and of course when I give times in it, I'm hoping that when I put this sound onto the video, I'll do it fairly closely within a few seconds. Oh, that was sorting out the electoral roll information, and yeah, there was something of amusement there, which it looks as though, you know, it's not completely in the open. So we're leaving the Bansals now. In the old days, everybody could find out where everybody lived easily, certainly if you're in the phone book. But these days, oh no, you can be anonymous, which is very good if you're doing something which is corrupt. No, of course that doesn't happen, does it? Right, so and it ends with the video chat. So that's the end of that. I did warn you it would be a long photo trail, or set of trails. 1 3/4 hours. Well, it's still a few more minutes. Which is, I'm going to start from here and then run into material that was up there on the YouTube videos for the last month or two. So I think we started at about here. Now what I put on the screen, because global warming is rare in itself, it's something that's been on my grumpy page for years. The remarkable James Lovelock, who passed away on the 26th of July, his 103rd birthday. I'll read out what this says here. This has been on the grumpy page for years, not long after the publication of his book, Revenge of Gaia. We can't stop global warming, but we may delay it by a few decades to give us time to prepare for its effects. Vast areas of the world, including as close as continental Europe, becoming arid desert, shrinking of habitable areas of the planet to much smaller parts of the planet, closer to the poles. The Earth will then only be able to support a small fraction of its present population, and there will be a need for massive migration. Places like the UK will remain temperate a little longer, so be an attractive destination. We need all world governments to cooperate to prepare for this inevitability. Also to agree things like reduce use of fossil fuels to give us a few more decades to prepare. And then it goes on. The above is not a quote, but how I remember what James Lovelock said in his book, The Revenge of Gaia, etc. That's been unchanged on my site for years. And right, well, the other thing I should mention, yes, retired, happy and spending that kid's inheritance, is for some time now I've not been able to drive due to, well, several mistakes at the DVLA. And what I will say is that I have new evidence of what happened inside the DVLA, which I won't publish yet because I'm still waiting for the reply to the letter which was delivered by recorded delivery to the head of the DVLA and also other people. So I'll put in at the end of this long video the video that's gone up, me talking about the DVLA, and basically in summary it says I don't want anybody to get into trouble, and that is definitely the case, and resigning is too easy. Problems need to be fixed. But quite honestly, that is a minor thing compared with all the other things that are going on in the world, not least wars, and of course what's in the background and very important is global warming. So let's run into that. Back in 2012.
Seen the launch of a transatlantic sailing attempt this morning in a model boat. Retired NATO scientist Robin Lovelock launched his Snoop loop from Barton-on-Sea towards the Bahamas. It's already been tested over 5,000 miles on a lake in Berkshire. The model will be steered and tracked through a satellite system and by Snoopy, of course, and it should make the crossing in 6 months, if it survives, that is.
The most important thing of the lot, of course, is Snoopy the Viking, the skipper. I don't think he'd make it otherwise. We've also got another bit and piece here. This is a GPS logger that logs the position every 15 minutes. That was back in 2012. The guy that put this material together, including live broadcast and what went up on the BBC website, is Ben Moore.
I just worry for Snoopy. Sport now and Hampshire.
Right, on to the next topic. Right. Now, I'm going to do this all in one take. All unrehearsed and unscripted, so sorry about that. What I'd like to happen, if anybody picks up on the DVLA story, is, as I say, nobody getting into trouble, and that's a genuine request. But when they find flaws in procedures where they don't cover certain things, be good if those are fixed. What I think would be useful for anybody looking at the DVLA and perhaps helping them is, first of all, their organisation chart showing the structure. Yes, it's well known who the head of the DVLA, remarkable woman, looking at her CV. And relevant to this story is the head of the health part. But it would be very useful to see, even if names aren't attached, obviously the names can be attached where they're public already, is how many people in each branch, how many people are reporting to how many. So a simple tree would help. I suggest that first of all. Then, perhaps even more important, is how many people working for the DVLA, even if you don't identify the individuals, are salaried by the DVLA excuse me, directly, as opposed to contracted through an agency or a business. That is very important, and we've seen what's been happening in places like the NHS for years. So that comes into the equation in terms of whether money is well spent, and of course the DVLA collects a lot of money, and there are probably other things as well, but as a starting point, I'd hope anybody that responds to this, I can't afford to get overloaded, we've got other things to do, many other things to do, and we'll be taking a holiday, that'll be public, yes. I'm tracked everywhere by different things, and in fact, if anybody's paranoid about it, anybody who's tracking somebody or looking at somebody's probably seen already. But at the end of the day, there's me whittering on, which is one of my main weaknesses since I was a little child. That's why if you put things up, clearly be careful what you put up, and often it can do some good. I'm now in the kitchen, and June's rustling up some food in the microwave for Samantha. The microwave was invented by James Lovelock, if you didn't know. And here's Samantha, and of course there's tennis on the television, just for a change. So, oh yes, point out, holidays in we're going off to Sicily again soon, and into the hall. Yes, nice expensive paintings here. Yep, expensive little pocket camera, not expensive, and through into the lounge and out to wrap up this video by saying, look after yourselves, stay safe, and enjoy what days we have.